Ben Simmons' stock is at an all-time low.
Tapping his way in, spins on Gallinari, gives it up. Oh, he was right there. And a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons, uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault.
When the 76ers All-Star passed up a potential game-tying dunk in Game 7 against Atlanta, it was a defining moment for player and team. Sure, it was only one play, but there were years of disappointment and underachieving that built up to it. Unlike previous years, however, no one was letting Simmons off the hook this time around.
Doc, you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now.
I don't know how to say it, but I thought the turning point was just, we had an open shot and, we made one free throw and we missed the other, and then they came down and scored.
Despite anything General Manager Daryl Morey says between now and the beginning of next season, it feels preposterous to imagine Simmons back in Philly. That much is obvious. Less obvious is where Simmons, a uniquely talented and flawed star, the likes of which we've probably never seen before, goes from here. Before we continue with this week's episode, just a reminder that if you're watching and you're not already subscribed, don't be like Ben Simmons and pass up this opportunity. Hit that subscribe button. Through 4 seasons, Simmons has averaged roughly 16 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and nearly 2 steals on 56% shooting, while being selected to 3 All-Star teams, an All-NBA team, and 2 All-Defensive teams. Given that the former #1 overall pick and 6'10" point guard has accomplished all of that before his 25th birthday, Simmons' max contract, which will pay him another $140 million over the next 4 years, seems like a no-brainer, both in terms of value and in terms of how many teams would line up to take on a contract that keeps the young star under team control through most of his prime. But Ben Simmons is no ordinary young star. The fact he's shot 56% from the field can be largely tied to the fact that more than 54% of Simmons' career field goal attempts have come within 3 feet of the rim, where he successfully converts nearly 72% of the time. His at-rim dependence also dramatically increases in the postseason, during which time Simmons is just a 38% shooter from only 3 to 10 feet away from the basket.
Let it rain!
Saying Ben Simmons struggles with his range and his jumper is the greatest understatement ever uttered on this show, especially after Simmons put together the worst free throw shooting performance in NBA playoffs history.
Wow, you're bad at this.
Those numbers would all be easier to accept if Simmons was a big man, rather than a big guard tasked with running Philly's offense. But according to Basketball Reference, 84% of his career minutes have been spent at point guard, with that figure skyrocketing to 98% in 2021. Simmons has tremendous playmaking abilities and is perhaps the league's finest player in transition, but his limitations can cripple a half-court offense, which is what the playoffs are about. Fast break opportunities dry up when teams value every single possession in a postseason setting. The obvious counter to this would be to take the ball out of Simmons' hands, but that's a lot easier said than done. The Sixers have found some success with Simmons hanging in the dunker spot, but it's still not an ideal pairing for a low-post behemoth like Joel Embiid, who ends up with little space to operate. Plus, as Simmons seemingly loses confidence in his offensive game, he doesn't exactly hustle to areas of the floor where the ball might find him in half-court settings. You could use him as a screener, except Simmons' screens aren't always solid or consistent enough.
Oh, come on. You gotta do better than that.
The defensive end is clearly where Simmons earns most of his money. He's a game-breaking, versatile defender who can guard 1 through 4, and sometimes 5, in a variety of defensive schemes. Need someone to pester waterbug guards who can shoot from anywhere like Trae Young? Ben Simmons is your man. Need someone to guard the planet's premier wing scorers like Kevin Durant, LeBron James, or Kawhi Leonard? Ben Simmons is still your guy. Same goes if you need a small ball center. While the basketball IQ is not the same, you don't have to squint too hard to see Simmons thriving in a Draymond Green-like role as a playmaking big man who's also a defensive destroyer. The question, other than how eager Simmons would ever be to play that role, is whether that skill set is worth an average of approximately $35 million per year. There are teams where the fit and need would make plenty of sense. The Blazers might run into spacing issues of their own with Simmons and Jusuf Nurkic sharing the court. But a Simmons for CJ McCollum swap is almost too easy to consider, as Portland and Philly would swap questionable contracts while better balancing their rosters. Personally, I love the idea of Simmons in Dallas. He'd provide a massive defensive boost for a team that desperately needs one. He'd fit in better offensively on a team with a clear-cut creator in Luka Doncic and a big man who won't actually crowd the paint in Kristaps Porzingis. And he'd get to play for a coach who knows a thing or two about carving out a Hall of Fame point guard career without the benefit of a jumper early in that career. The catch? Look up and down the Mavs roster. Sure, they can come up with the contracts to match salary in a trade for Simmons, but who does Dallas have that Philly is trading one of its franchise stars for, even if it is at a rock-bottom price? The Pacers make some sense, and Simmons could combine with Miles Turner to form one of the best defensive duos in the league without getting in each other's way on offense. But one, Indiana would then likely have to make a separate deal to move all-star Domantas Sabonis, and two, is a package built around Malcolm Brogdon really good enough for Philly? This is the Ben Simmons dilemma. He has star talent and provides star-level impact in some areas, but his limitations are debilitating in the modern game, especially in the role he's supposed to be playing, and particularly in the playoffs. He can fill a more suitable role, but then his on-court value will never live up to his contract, which can be an impediment if you're trying to build a championship team within the parameters of the salary cap. You can manufacture sensible trades for him, but not everyone would be happy. The Sixers need to trade Simmons. Rival teams know his value is lower than ever, but Philly may not be able to stomach accepting lowball offers for one of its pillars of the process. It's the NBA's most fascinating merry-go-round, and where it stops, no one knows. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.